There's a ton of noise out there. So how do you get decision makers to pay attention to your brand? Start a podcast and invite your ideal clients to be guests on your show. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. This episode is sponsored by Directive Consulting, the B2B search marketing agency. We are here today with Gil Klein. He is the managing director of Mobfox. Gil, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. And yourself?
I am fantastic, Gil. So you guys have experienced a ton of growth at Mobfox. In the last 4 years, you've gone from right around 15 million in revenue to 50 million in revenue. And the fact that you guys did that in 4 years is incredible. We're going to talk about 5 of the key things that you attribute to that growth. But before we do, I'd love for you to explain to listeners, just give them a little bit of context around what Mobfox is and what you guys are up to over there.
Sure, I'd love to. So Mobfox is an in-app programmatic audience-based platform. Basically, we provide solutions for developers around everything they need to manage their business. It could be around ad serving and monetization and helping them with demand, but getting an SDK, integrating international, adding additional formats, and doing some very cool and innovative stuff. In addition, we also help them to kind of like tailor and identify their different audiences, and then being able to target them better and to offer their advertisers additional benefits and how they can interact with a specific developer. So it's everything around how apps can generate revenues and manage their business. That's kind of where we focus at.
Got it. I love it. So Gail, I know we've got a lot of stuff to cover in this episode, so I want to just jump right in. In going from 15 million to 50 million in 4 years, you said that there were 5 things that led to that growth. And the first one is something I've heard before, but I think it's worth repeating, because I mean, you rank this as really the number one most important factor in your growth. And it's this idea of focusing where you're best. Can you elaborate on that for us?
So yeah, that's a good point. So I'm a strong believer in doing one thing and doing it the best that you can and trying to lead that space. So for us, we had a lot of different discussions and thought around if we want to be a supply side platform that focuses only on mobile or also does display or does mobile web or only does in-app, etc. And we understood very fast that our DNA and our capabilities in the place where we can bring our let's say, independent or special sauce or flavor would be around in-app. And once we took that decision, it helped us to keep focus and learn that space and excel in that space, and then really understand and dig into the fundamental elements and advantages around the mobile device and how that can help in terms of creating better, stronger, and smarter advertising. So for instance, on a device, there's a lot around like allocation and preferences, and which apps are being used, right? And how strong is the battery and how we can create a better environment for a specific user, etc. So there's a lot of things that we look up around in-app that made sense for us and helped us to be focused and explain to our partners and the market what Mobfox is about, where we're focused, and where we're playing to win.
I love it. I think that translates to so many elements of business. I think focusing on your strength and really going all in on one area allows you to lead the market in that way. So I appreciate you sharing that. The second key thing that you talked about offline, Gil, was your willingness to invest in technology. Can you talk to us about what you guys did here and the impact that it had?
Yeah, that's also a very good point. So we believe that when you own and operate and facilitate your own technology, you basically build your brain, right? It means that you can look at where you feel the market is not being utilized, where you can bring in additional values, how you can listen to your partners and understand what is their needs and bring that into the technology and the technical aspect. For instance, if your developer is lacking some analytics or special reporting or wants to have a different type of auctioning mechanism inside the RTB environment, we can facilitate that. We can also go and understand when we see a large portfolio of business, what kind of works and matches for all of them, and try to bring solutions that mix and match better and show better opportunity for our developers. So we created a lot of different elements around formats and RTB and how we do the auctioning and how we present ads and how we offer different type of verticals and formats to the developers. And even more important, how do we control, promise a good user experience, which is like at the top of what we're trying to do. And in addition, how do we, offer our advertisers a clean, transparent, and strong environment? That's all of the things that we work around on the technology side, looking for innovation and keeping a clean and brand safe type of environment. So there's a lot of things when you facilitate your tech, gives you much more flexibility to give solutions, to think about the future, and to be there in the next 10, 20, or 30 years, right?
Yeah, makes sense. So you alluded to something right there, Gil, that is actually your third kind of key to the growth that you guys have seen, which is transparency. Is this kind of specific to, being in the ad tech space, or do you see, how do you see transparency playing a role kind of for really any company listening to this?
Okay, so I've been in the ad tech space for about 14 years, and I've seen it kind of evolve from different type of stages. I think today it reached a much more mature place where there's only room and only place for companies and for the type of business that is willing to go the extra mile or the extra 100 miles to make sure that the environment is clean, that everything is passed through is transparent, that the buyer and the seller understand exactly who's interacting with who, that there's no surprises, that you're actually fulfilling the demand and what they want to receive. And you're assuring the publisher that they're in a good environment and there will be no surprises. Because at the end of the day, businesses are people, and people want to be able to trust one another, and they don't want surprises. They want to be able to plan. They want to feel comfortable about who they're doing business. It's not just about who's going to pay me and who's not going to pay me, and who's actually going to give me a good environment, good results, not create any unnecessary noise in my day-to-day, and really help me focus on building my own business, if that makes sense. So I think that's fundamental in our business, and I think today in ad tech in general, if you want to survive and kind of grow in this space.
All right, it's story time again, and today I'm going to tell you about a challenge within Pelican Case's B2B division. Pelican needed a partner with deep B2B expertise that could get them a massive bump in leads from their pay-per-click campaigns without increasing spend. After vetting a handful of agencies, they decided to go with Directive Consulting, a B2B search marketing agency located in Southern California. Directive took on this challenge by refining their targeting and building custom landing pages for their advertising efforts. Once implemented, they saw a 208% increase in conversion rate. And needless to say, Pelican Cases met their initiative. I have a hunch that Directive can get these kind of results for you too. So head over to directiveconsulting.com and request a totally free custom proposal. That's directiveconsulting.com. All right, let's get back to this interview.
So the fourth key to your growth, Gil, has been diversification. Talk to us about kind of like in what area of the business did you guys focus on diversification, and what was the impact that had?
Right. So I think diversification started in kind of wanting to be able to support a variety set of partners. So we're working with companies that do retargeting, that do performance marketing, that do video advertising, brand, cross-device, location, everyone in their own kind of like aspiration inside the in-app space is where we facilitate. And what you get out of that is that it's not just that you're servicing a lot of these partners and you do it across native video, in-app display, and additional special formats that we build out of our SDK. Basically, what you get is a strong variety, a strong diversification that promises you to have a solid and sustainable business. Nobody wants to be in a situation or wake up in the morning that they're depending 90% or 85% on one client, and then something happens and the business is not there for the long run. So it's a business case, and also being able to offer a variety of solutions that kind of brought us to a place where we really measure how much of a variety we have and how much diversification and non-dependency is occurring in our business. And that kind of like provides you the confidence that you're building constant and healthy growth.
I love it. I like this last point, Gil, that we're going to talk about. You talk about regional expansion and maintaining a culture as you expand regionally. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, so this is one of the biggest challenges that I see as a manager, and of course, as managers of businesses in this type of scale, we have a lot, right? So one of them is how do you create an international type of DNA and culture for a company? And it's a lot about how do you build processes, knowledge sharing, making sure that the remote offices, and we have them, in Asia and Europe and the US and Israel, it's it's really expanded around the world. So how do you make sure that the products that are, let's say, generated or built in Vienna are passed, whether to China or New York or Israel, etc.? How do you connect between people? Because at the end of the day, people need to feel confident and become friendly with one another to be productive. So the different things that we do is that, let's say we have TV screens around the office where we show the other offices and people can interact throughout the day. Or let's say we're building a hackathon, so we want to try and have that hackathon running across our offices. We have all these tools and systems that are open for everybody. We have bi-weekly and monthly calls. We bring one market to the other to kind of visit and meet the other people. So we invest a lot in connecting between the people, in keeping them part of one business, in building a DNA about where we feel our core values are. And that's something that I can't say that we cracked it already or it's 100%, but I definitely investing a lot into how we build that global culture. So that's on one aspect. On the other aspect, it's a lot about how do you connect people with what you're trying to achieve and the purpose and the cause. When sometimes you have to bridge a language or a cultural type of difference. And I think here it's about the people like really wanting to succeed in this and kind of being open-minded and giving the place for the other. And I think we're really improving in that. But it's definitely been one of the biggest challenges that I've seen in my managerial career.
I love it. I've got an entirely different podcast dedicated to culture, Gil, called Crafting Culture. So it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I think you shared some really practical things there that folks can do, and allowing teams to visit one another and have that in-person interaction is something that stood out in what you just said. I think that makes so much sense, that people actually having FaceTime allows you to build the type of culture that you're wanting to build, and really translate something from maybe a home office over to these other offices that you're opening up by actually allowing people to spend physical time with one another. Gil, this has been fantastic. You've shared a ton of gems here. If there's somebody listening to this, they want to stay connected with you, or they want to learn more about Mobfox, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
So first of all, I'm a heavy user on LinkedIn. I really love it. I consume a lot of my content and my contacts on LinkedIn. So you can find Gil Klein on LinkedIn. You can come to mobfox.com. You can write me an email at gil@mobfox.com. I'll be very happy to interact, speak, share some experiences, learn from other people. I'm always looking for that experience, so please feel free to reach out.
I love it. Awesome, Gil. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You have a great day.
There are lots of ways to build a community, and we've chosen to build the B2B growth community through this podcast. But because of the way podcasts work, it's really hard to engage with our listeners. And without engagement, it's tough to build a great community. So here's what we've decided to do. We're organizing small dinners across the country with our listeners and guests. No sales pitches, no agenda, just great conversations with like-minded people. We'll talk business, we'll talk family, we'll talk goals and dreams. We'll build friendships. So if you'd like to be a part of a B2B growth dinner in a city near you, go to b2bgrowthdinners.com. That's b2bgrowthdinners.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.